Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the RGA Hour. I got a great guest with me, Tiffany.
Hello.
And you're from St. Leo.
St.
Not
Leo.
St. Leo, St. Leo.
St. Leo University.
Yeah. So, you know what? I know about St. Leo. And there's probably some people watching that kind of know about St. Leo. Let's talk about St. Leo.
I love talking about St. Leo. Give you a little bit of history first, I think. St. Leo University has been around since 1889, which actually makes it some of the deepest roots of any college in the Central Florida area. It was actually established by Benedictine monks back in 1889, settled into the San Antonio, Florida area, Dade City, for those of you who are not familiar. And the Benedictine monks started a small school. That school turned into St. Leo College, which now is known as St. Leo University, the Catholic university that we know and love today.
So I did not know it was Catholic.
It is a Catholic institution, one of actually the largest and most reputable Catholic institutions in our nation.
Wow.
And,
Okay.
It is a Catholic university, but we don't require our students to be Catholic.
That was my next question.
Nor do we require them to be religious. We have a very strong community mindset at our university, and so it's very inclusive.
Well, okay, so that's awesome. What sets St. Leo University apart from everybody else?
I think there are a lot of things that set St. Leo apart, but I think that some of the main things are that we are a university that walks out our core values. I've been attached to many an organization or business that have their values written on the wall or their mission statement noted on their website. But this is a university that walks out their core values of respect and responsible stewardship, integrity, excellence, and personal development. And some of those core values happen to be the things that make me tick. So I think that really sets us apart, as well as being something that's available to traditional students and adult learners alike.
Oh, so you're okay with us old people coming back to school?
We love seeing students coming back to school. I actually do have a little bit of a unique experience with that. I completed my undergraduate and my graduate degrees at St. Leo.
So you actually went to school there?
I did, so I can speak to the non-traditional student experience. But I also had an opportunity to have my father approach me when I started working as a staff at St. Leo, and he said, I want to finish a degree. I started it. I may not do necessarily something with it, but I want to finish. And we got to be peers, and I was his advisor,
Wow.
and I was able to walk in commencement with my father walking beside me. So that was
How cool is that?
something that you couldn't have scripted, but I
Right.
got out of this university.
That is amazing. I'm just kind of flabbergasted all of a sudden. Now I don't know what to ask. Well, how has your educational experience influenced you?
Well, in a lot of different ways, I think. From a personal standpoint, I grew up in an area that very small economically, and
Okay.
Education may not necessarily be the avenue that most would take. It's not necessarily considered a priority. So I knew pretty early on that if I was going to focus on education, which is probably the thing that makes my heart beat, I would have to move. So I moved right out of high school, got a writing scholarship, and but my experience was not that. I was a honor student all through school, but then I got here and life happened. I lost a scholarship because I met a boy, and that happens, and it derails you.
Stinking boys.
So that did derail me a little bit, but it gave me the non-traditional experience that I would not have otherwise gotten. I don't think that I valued my education enough at that time, because obviously I didn't do what it took to keep it going
Right.
at that moment. But when I came back, it means everything to me now.
Okay.
So that really paved the way for me, and being able to speak to my experience, I think, shows people that it really is attainable,
Right.
regardless of where you are in your walk.
So I'm going to say that the next we're going to move it around a bit because where you're from is one of the coolest places on the planet Earth. So tell everybody where you're from, because you mentioned a small community.
I grew up in Roswell, New Mexico. which immediately is a conversation starter. I tend to tell people that I grew up in a small town in New Mexico, which paints a very different picture, very
Yes.
desert and artsy. But then I say Roswell, and all of that is just out the window. But I grew up in Roswell, New Mexico, which, you know, is known, as you are aware,
Yes, it is.
for Area 51 and for the alien crash of 47. And it's kind
TV
of like,
show.
yes, it's kind of like growing up in Orlando and everybody just knows Disney World.
Yes.
We just get a very different tourist
Right.
there. So that's part of, you know, fun of where I'm from, but it also propelled me to say, you know what, like if that's the only tourism we can hold on to, I'm ready to.
So, but there's other things. I mean, look, I'm going to say it. You're a published poet and photographer.
I am. St. Leo actually holds once a year a Sandhill Writers Review. People come from all over the country to attend this writing workshop
Right.
for the span of a weekend.
Okay.
I do try to take part in that whenever possible. When I went to college right out of high school, I was a writing major, which is far cry from my master in psychology now.
Right.
However, during that time, it taught me that the written word and the psychology behind that is what interests me. So my master's thesis was all on the power of writing.
And you're a licensed minister.
I am also a licensed
Now, are
minister.
you a Catholic priest or a non-denominational or denominational?
That's a good question. I am non-denominational minister, and I've kind of utilized my ministry license in a different way because I've actually brought my writing premise back around to ministerially how writing helps as not only a coping mechanism, which is the psychology standpoint, but from a biblical standpoint, everything that we learn is from a written word.
Yep.
And it is taken as truth. So it goes so much deeper in so many different avenues. So it kind of ties together all of it.
Super cool. Okay, so let's talk about what RGA has done for you.
So this has been really a very exciting journey for me because I actually worked for St. Leo University now for a cumulative 6 years plus, but I was a staff assistant out of our Lakeland campus. I was an advisor. I did all of the recruiting, just kind of wore a lot of hats. But I got to experience the networking and the job, the career shifts at every single pivot during COVID.
Oh, especially during COVID. It's amazing.
So I actually was a part of a layoff during that time, and so that caused me to pivot into something very different and out of my comfort zone to see if I wanted to use my degree, and then at the earliest opportunity came back home, I feel, to St. Leo.
Nice.
So that's been a big part of the journey, has been me moving into a position where what really drives me is the community atmosphere and the personal development. I mentioned those two values.
Yes.
Those two values are all the heartbeat of RGA Speaks as well. So when I found a place that, just like St. Leo says, these are the things that are important to us, and we are networking abundantly. We're not just saying it, we're doing
That's
it.
right.
That makes the difference for me. I've done networking where you collect the business cards and it's a human Rolodex of who do I need in this moment.
At that moment.
And I didn't like it when people would come to me and say, hey, Tiffany, who do you have for this? Because I felt like it was cheap. I was just handing out my contacts. Instead of that, I felt like it was cheapening the meaningful relationships that I was building. So this is a little bit more about relationship, and that speaks to the way I want to do things.
Perfect. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for being on. We appreciate it.
you.
Everybody, stick around. We've got a lot more guests coming up, and you know what? Matt did a good job. Got a good lineup today. We'll be back in a few minutes. Just go get something to drink, chill out, and we'll be right back after these messages.